By the end of season 10, we see that Lucas and Elizabeth very respectfully decide to end their engagement.
I'm so sorry, Lucas. I can't bear the thought of hurting you. I really wanted to make this work. I did.
Know.
But no matter how hard I tried to convince myself,
Your heart isn't there.
What was your reaction when you found out?
I think it's a really good, authentic, challenging, emotional story. And it may be tough on some of our fans, but what I really appreciate about it is it's a story of two people who they still have a very deep love for one another.
It was so delicate the way they handled it.
Oh, I'm glad you feel that way. Thank you. I felt that way as well. But I think that they were just being true to what was in their hearts, and you can't argue with that. They're being true to their authentic selves. So, I mean, I think it was the right move.
I wish I could give you all of my heart. But I just can't. And you deserve to be with someone who can.
We both do.
I love Lucas for so many reasons, and I really loved, especially over the past couple seasons, watching him step up to the plate, be a man who commits, be a man who is there for not only Elizabeth, but for little Jack.
Yes.
What do you think it was that ultimately kind of drove them apart?
I think it was several things. I think, one, Lucas always had these big dreams and grand gestures. He's wanting to surprise Elizabeth with a house on a hill somewhere, and Elizabeth wants to stay in her modest row house and be close to her community. When thinking about political aspirations, Lucas is really intrigued by that. I mean, not at first necessarily, but he's excited about moving to the big city and making these changes for the town, for the community. Elizabeth doesn't really share those dreams. And
that's okay.
That is totally okay, because they can be individuals who still really care about each other but aren't necessarily meant to be together forever.
Yeah.
And then I think that there's just maybe something else happening in Elizabeth's heart that she can't quite deny as much as she once tried.
So before I go down that path, before we tackle that,
yeah, good luck.
We see Lucas goes off to Capital City. He has been elected as governor, and we see Elizabeth makes the choice to stay back in Hope Valley.
Yes.
As we now are going into season 11, congrats on being renewed.
Thank you.
Are we gonna get answers about whether Lucas is gonna pursue this whole governor situation he has on his hands, or do you think his heart will ultimately pull him back to Hope Valley?
Both. I mean,
you can do both in this world?
We do both.
Okay.
I mean, it's absolutely happening. We're not gonna lose Chris McNally.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, he's fantastic. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Our show just grew and changed when we brought in Kevin and Chris. He's got to stick around. But in season 11, I mean, not to spoil too much, but we are continuing to explore this political route he's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get more answers about what Lucas's future looks like.
Yes, a lot more answers.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that Elizabeth's heart, whether she wants to admit it or not, might be pulled in a different direction. And we saw little glimpses of that throughout season 10.
Elizabeth, what do you want?
What I want is for him to win.
Tell me about that scene and why you feel like that was maybe a pivotal moment in some shifts of feelings.
It was a huge moment between Nathan and Elizabeth, just as people who care about each other. I think Nathan was really challenging Elizabeth to be true to what she was feeling. What do you really want here? At the end of the day, do you want to go be a governor's wife in the big city? Is that what you really want? If not, Nathan aside, you need to reconnect to what's in your heart. And
is that the life you want?
Is that the life you want? And I think it was that conversation that really shook Elizabeth. She doubled down. She said, I am going. I'm going with Lucas. I'm going to go support him. But, in the wee hours of the morning when she's sitting at her table with Rosemary, tearfully talking about what's truly in her heart, she realized it wasn't that. And I don't know. I don't know if she would have come to that realization if Nathan hadn't challenged her to really think through what she wanted out of her life.
I hope it makes you happy. Be safe.
I don't want to call them sparks because they're two very respectful people and nothing was going on, but I think
Right.
at the end of the day, it is inevitable that these two people have so much in common. They both held out. You know, she's now single. Nathan never wound up pursuing a romance with anybody else. Should we still hold out hope that these two might really give it a go?
Yes. I guess I'll just say yes. I mean, it never hurts to have hope. Though I'm sensitive for any of our viewers who may have, you know, just watched all of this go down. I know it's very fresh for them. And for that reason, I'd just like to say that we take our time with any of this. We are intentionally being as respectful as we can, but it's really important that Elizabeth have love in her life, and we're on that journey.
It is, and I'm glad you said that because after Jack's death, I mean, Elizabeth really took a couple seasons to even warm up to the idea of maybe getting engaged again.
Right.
Do you see a world where maybe Elizabeth and Nathan could end up together?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think it makes sense?
I absolutely think it makes sense. And I think that everybody deserves a happy ending. So that's what we're after.
This is your camera. Do you want to look in there and say hi to the Hardys and offer them maybe a
man.
message?
Hi, Hardys. I know it's been a roller coaster of a season, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming along on this ride with us. We have a lot of very exciting, romantic stories left to tell, and happy stories for all characters involved.
And my final question
Yes.
is season 10. Of course, in true When Calls the Heart fashion, it ends with an epic cliffhanger. It's so picturesque. Elizabeth is sitting there on that log, and who comes riding up to offer like a comforting word? Nathan.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I was just.
Bill, what is it? It's Lucas. I need you both. Now.
We have a lot of questions, of course, going into season 11. What can you tell me about where this story is heading?
Well, I can say that the good news is those questions will be answered,
Okay.
and pretty much right away. So we're not going to have to wait too long in season 11 to get those answers.
Answers about if Lucas is okay, answers about whether Nathan and Elizabeth decide to give it a go.
We'll find out about Lucas's well-being right away.
Okay.
And the Nathan and Elizabeth journey may be a bit slower, but we will be dropping hints as much as we can.